Mental clarity is a state of mind, the one where your mind is empty, where you can focus sharper, you can direct your attention for longer, your perception is sound and clear, your cognitive abilities are running smoothly, you're basically more efficient. You get to learn and understand the stuff you're actually reading. You can communicate better and comprehend ideas better. Boosting mental clarity and alertness is about reducing the junk from your brain. It's about becoming less stimulated, less hyperactive, so we have more energy to focus and direct our attention on what's really meaningful. One of the most common things for mental clarity is meditation. Now, in an ideal world, we're all monks and meditate for like 1 hour a day, right? You sit down, burn some sage, you play the gong, you focus on your breathing, monk mode. However, in this hyper-connected and highly tech-developed world, we sort of want to be everywhere. We want to be active, we want to hear and see all the things going on around in the world, and it's quite impossible and for many not efficient to meditate for an hour. So for many, meditation seems like a waste of time. It's too much of a stretch to devote oneself even for only 15 minutes a day to meditation. So what can we do? The first strategy is to reduce brain overstimulation. So just existing, even if you just go and walk in nature, there's a lot of input. Your senses, you can see stuff, you can hear stuff, and your brain is trying to process all this. This leads to a lot of chatter in the subconscious brain in the background that you may or may not be aware of. Your subconscious absorbs a lot of things and plays it over and over again. If we were to live in nature like the cavemen, there's less things to focus on at one time. But in today's hyper-connected world, we have to be everywhere and see a lot of stuff, sense a lot of things, so the input of data in our brains is that much bigger. You open up Twitter to get an update, Instagram notifications pop off all over the place, TikTok is calling for your attention because it's fun, rewarding, and interesting. You need to check a few pins to make your Pinterest board look nicer, etc., etc. Music, for example, especially loud and dynamic type of music, can overstimulate your brain very fast. If such type of music is the first thing you do in the morning, there is a very likely chance that by 1 or 2 o'clock you'll be drained and tired and unable to focus. If you wake up to these kinds of things, it makes your brain active, it makes your brain chatter, and it uses a lot of that activity to shuffle unnecessary things. This makes the brain chatter, it makes it very active, so you lose clarity and focus. Being exposed to highly stimulating content, for example playing a heavy game, can have that kind of impact on your brain that wastes all of this activity for that. Clarity is the opposite of hyperactivity. It's about focus. It's about freeing space and energy to direct your attention on what you want. So one strategy is reducing the highly stimulating things you do in a day. Use willpower wisely. See, for a long time I thought if we're passionate about our careers and if we love what we do, we will never get stuck. It'll never be that hard, so we need to run on discipline. I thought you don't need willpower if you really love what you do. But see, that's not really true. Success comes from discipline. It comes from being able to repetitively do tedious tasks until you're great at it. Think of willpower like a battery. See, sleep recharges this battery to 100%. And so when you wake up, you're fresh and you can do hard stuff. You can focus, you can direct your attention, you can think clearly. But as we progress throughout the day, the more our brain has been active and the more tasks we've done, the more things we've learned and stuff we read and heard, all of these stimulations sort of drains our battery. Our energy level drains out, and slowly as we go throughout the day, fatigue shows up and willpower is slightly reduced. So the further you are in a day, the harder it is to do the hard tasks. Let's take two extremes: reading a book and scrolling on TikTok. Reading a book is quite hard as we need to devote more and deeper attention. It's quite valuable in the long run, but it's hard to start. On the other hand, scrolling on TikTok requires zero attention, and although it's not that valuable, it does provide an acute reward which makes us feel good. But since most of our discipline and willpower is present in the morning, it makes a ton of sense to do the hard things that we need right first thing in the morning. If you're familiar with the book Eat That Frog, that's exactly what it's talking about. No one likes to eat a frog, right? So it's the hardest thing, the most tedious task you need to do is what you should do the first thing in the morning, so it sort of sets the tone for the day. The third strategy I'd like to use to clear my head is running or walking in nature. See, just being in nature has its own way of clearing our head. It's like you finally get to understand the physical reality, and you get to distinguish the physical from the virtual world. This is especially important as nowadays with this tech hyper-connected world, we're mostly diving into a ton of notifications out there and we don't really pay attention to the real physical world. We're not that mindful, and going on a run, a hike, or a walk out in nature helps us connect with nature in a way that being on your phone cannot. It feels like, hey, there is a place out there where these internet-related things don't matter. It's like a whole new world out there. You look at the trees, look at the sky, you take some leaf, smell it, you look at people walking their dog, you breathe some fresh air, you think, hey, it's actually quite nice there. The reason specifically why walking, hiking, or running is because it's easier to achieve a flow state. See, these kinds of low-intensity repetitive movements are very easy to coordinate. If you're an experienced runner, you've probably heard and felt the runner's high. But even if you're not, you're probably an experienced walker. The point is that when you do such an activity that's not hard to coordinate, you get to feel the flow state. You don't think about hiking, it just happens in and of itself. So you can connect with your body and feel like you're one with it and like you're one with nature. You enter a flow state that's very close to a meditative experience. There's also much to be said about the physiology of such low-intensity activity like running, which boosts your circulation and makes you feel very good. There is something about that fresh oxygen which comes up and fills your body, that energy creation you get from it, and it also increases endorphins. Endorphins are these feeling good chemicals like serotonin, known as the happiness hormone, which increase your overall mood and well-being. It's one of the best ways to get out, clear your head, break your old routine, and enjoy some me time. The fourth strategy is including nootropics like caffeine and L-theanine. See, we all know that caffeine is a potent psychoactive stimulant, which is also why it's one of the most misused substances around. See, caffeine works by blocking fatigue and it boosts your focus. Your brain is sharper, you can react quicker and comprehend things better. Your perception's clear. Right, but if a cup of coffee boosts your focus, then is 4 cups of coffee 4x boost in focus? No, it doesn't work like that. The more you'll misuse caffeine, the lower your quality of sleep is going to be. And if we know one thing about sleep is, it's the one thing that recharges this battery for focus and willpower and mental clarity. So first of all, stopping to misuse caffeine is going to set you on a path toward better mental clarity. Also, as great as caffeine is, if you take too much of it or if you cannot metabolize it as fast, it can cause hyperactivity. And being hyperactive is the exact opposite of what mental clarity is about. Now, one thing to mitigate these effects and smoothen these jitters of caffeine to prevent the energy crash and actually be alert is adding L-theanine into a combination with caffeine. L-theanine is a potent amino acid found in green tea and matcha tea, which helps get your brain into a state known as relaxed alertness. It gets your brain into the alpha brain wave state, which is the closest you're going to get to what a monk's brain activity looks like during a deep meditative phase. It improves mental clarity, it increases alertness. It's basically a great combo to add to caffeine if you want alertness. The fifth and last strategy is journaling. You've probably heard of this before. Journaling is about recording your thoughts on paper. As we go throughout the day, more tasks show up, more ideas rise, and our brain just gets stuck with all this input, with all this large data set that it needs to think about. And so, as much as we want to let go of this and put things off for when we have time, your subconscious brain doesn't get that. It still is active, shuffling all of this info in the background. So one way to clear the cache on your brain is to actually empty it out by writing your thoughts in a journal. Journaling is a great way to clear the junk from the brain, the excessive and unnecessary chatter, because now you feel safe that you have put it somewhere where you can see it in the future if need be. Try to find ways to make journaling effective for you, whether that's a physical paper on which you write out your thoughts, or it's a productivity note-taking app like Notion. Find what suits for you. I just highly recommend trying journaling, and it doesn't have to be the fancy, big, and complex type of journaling. You can just jot down a few notes of thoughts you had. Before you go, answer down below, what is the one thing that heavily improved your mental clarity and alertness? It does not have to be from the list we've provided. I just want to see some ideas for a future video. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you sticking around to the end. You're quite special. Long attention span. Really, thank you. I really enjoyed making this video. It's kind of a new setup, a new different structure for me. So I'm trying to share different ideas and trying to express stuff in a new way. It would mean the world to me if you could take a second to like this video so more people can see it